Hello and welcome to another Stick It Down challenge for the month of April 2023. Welcome back to Pod Popper's Place, and I'm going to be making the literal interpretation for this month's sketch. It has polka dots on one side at a diagonal and plain on the other, and so there's several ways I could make the polka dots. I could use polka dotted paper, I could use a polka dot stencil, I could use polka dot embossing folders, I could also do a polka dot foiling plate, or use the stencil in different ways with inks or markers or watercolor paints. But today I'm going to use this orchid stencil butter from the Crafters Workshop from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to use the purple because I think it's a fun Mother's Day card, and I'm going to be using this Colorado Craft Company Mother's Day stamp set. And I'm going to cover the whole 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet with the polka dots, even though we're only going to be using half, because then I'll be able to make 2 cards from the same sheet. While our panel is drying, I'm going to stamp out our image here and color it. And I'm going to use my Stamparatus, which I guess is retiring now, which is kind of sad. I do like it, and I actually watched a video recently on someone who really loves it, and she showed a lot of unique things that you can do with the Stamparatus, so it will be sad to see it go. But one thing that I learned recently from Mary Polenko is to double stamp your image. So if you keep this in the corner and then come back and stamp it a second time, and you know, it's not like it's rocket science, right? But I didn't realize how much of a difference it made after coloring. So I use my Memento, and I don't worry about getting a super perfect impression because I just need it so that I can color. But then I come back and stamp with my VersaFine after I'm done coloring, and it just I was blown away. I was blown away with how well it worked. So I did this last month in my March video, and I've been doing it pretty much ever since, because it just really makes everything stand out so nicely. So if you have a MISTI or other stamping tool like this that you can do a similar technique, definitely try it if you haven't, because it really makes a difference in your image. All right, 3 hours later, this is dry. Look how shiny it is. I did obviously get some spots where that went through, but that's okay. Some of that'll be covered up. And then I colored both of these slightly different, and I put like some really fine glitter on here. So all I did was take a Zig 2-way glue pen and just really carefully just put a little, didn't need a whole lot, just a little bit of glue on that kind of fringe. This is just really fine and really cheap. It's like from the dollar store glitter, and just let it sit on there until it's dry. So I'm just gonna put this one aside, and then when it's dry, just brush off the excess, and it's got like a nice little shine there. So now we're going to put it back in our 50,000 pens later. Back in the corner here. I want to make sure it's hopefully exactly where it was before. So I have it right in the corner. And then I'm going to use the VersaFine because it gives such a nice solid black line. try to only do this once because I want it to be right on, and I don't want to press too hard because I don't want it to get smushy, but I do want, so hopefully get all the little places in there. But I hope you can see, it just makes everything pop off the page better. It just looks so nice and detailed. I just love it. So I am going to set this aside to dry because the VersaFine does take a little bit longer to dry. I mean, it was slightly maybe off here. There's a little bit of a blur on the back of the carriage, but for the most part, it looks like I got it pretty spot on, so I can live with that. So our sketch almost looks like a square card. So our top diagonal is the polka dot paper, and our bottom kind of diagonal is our stamped image. And I don't want to cut exactly, obviously, because we'll cut off some of this. So I'm going to kind of cut around this and to bring out some of this green and the little fluffy toy. And this is Candy Apple, Granny Apple, not candy, Granny Apple green from Stampin' Up. And so this is from the Brights, and so it matches. So I think we will, you know, green and purple, fun, kind of crazy colors. I think I'm just going to glue this on with how much border I want, and then we will just trim around it, and then the card base will just give it a white vinyl border. I decided to use StazOn ink on a vellum circle for my sentiment, and I did make sure to let this dry completely before I embossed the letters for Mother in between that section, middle section there. Why is that E all bunched up? So you can see the E here, it's like really short, so kind of odd lettering, but it is correct, it did work. This up with some foam tape, embellishments to this. So I was thinking to kind of hide this mess up here. There was a couple areas that had gotten some smeared spot marks from probably the Versamark not being quite dry. So I decided to add some little dots there so that it looked more intentional. After adding a few purple sequins, I put the card front onto a white card base. The top and bottom are slightly larger than the sides, but that's okay. And then I finished the other one as well, but this one didn't have any white border around it. Let me know which is your favorite, and I hope you will join in on the challenge. All the information for the Stick It Down challenge will be in the information box below. I would sure appreciate it if you would comment, like, subscribe, all the things. It would be greatly appreciated, and I thank you so much for being here. Please come again soon.